भारत की महामहिम राष्ट्रपति न्याय संगत व लचीली कृषि खाद्य प्रणालियों की ओर विषय पर अंतर्राष्ट्रीय सम्मेलन का उद्घाटन करेंगे। 1 अक्टूबर 2023 को एक प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस का आयोजन NASC के लेक्चर हॉल पूसा नई दिल्ली में किया गया, जिसमें डॉक्टर हिमांशु पाठक और डॉक्टर निकोलाइन डी हॉर्न ने कॉन्फ्रेंस को संबोधित किया और बताया कि
अस्सलामु अलैकुम, मैं ज़मीर अहमद अंसारी और आप देख रहे हैं जेड न्यूज़ फॉर यू। अर्ज़ यह है कि आपने अपने चैनल जेड न्यूज़ फॉर यू को अभी तक सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है तो सब्सक्राइब करें और साथ में दिए हुए बेल आइकन को भी दबाएं, जिससे हमारी आने वाली सभी वीडियोस के नोटिफिकेशन सबसे पहले आपको मिल सकें।
भारत की महामहिम राष्ट्रपति श्रीमती द्रौपदी मुर्मू 9 अक्टूबर 2023 को होने जा रहे अंतर्राष्ट्रीय अनुसंधान सम्मेलन का उद्घाटन करेंगी। NASC परिसर पूसा रोड नई दिल्ली में होने जा रहे सम्मेलन का शीर्षक है अनुसंधान से असर तक न्याय संगत व लचीली कृषि खाद्य प्रणालियों की ओर। इस 4 दिवसीय सम्मेलन की मेजबानी CGIAR जेंडर इम्पैक्ट प्लेटफॉर्म और भारतीय कृषि अनुसंधान परिषद द्वारा की जाएगी। ये दोनों संस्थान मिलकर राष्ट्रीय एवं अंतर्राष्ट्रीय अनुसंधानों का उपयोग करते हुए सुनिश्चित करना चाहते हैं कि हर जगह महिलाएं कृषि व खाद्य प्रणालियों में नेतृत्व की भूमिका निभाएं। ये उनका अधिकार है और वे इस मोर्चे पर बदलाव की अगुवाई करें। इस सम्मेलन के माननीय वक्ताओं में शामिल होंगे श्री नरेंद्र सिंह तोमर, कृषि व किसान कल्याण मंत्री, भारत के G20 शेरपा अमिताभ कांत और CGIAR के अंतरिम कार्यकारी प्रबंधक निदेशक प्रोफेसर एंड्रूज कैम्बेल। इस सम्मेलन के बारे में आज मीडिया को ब्यौरा देते हुए भारतीय कृषि अनुसंधान परिषद के महानिदेशक डॉक्टर हिमांशु पाठक ने बताया कि यह सम्मेलन और इसका विषय G20 समिट के मद्देनजर अहम है, जिसमें स्पष्ट रूप से महिलाओं की अगुवाई में विकास की बात कही गई है। इसमें शामिल है कि जलवायु परिवर्तन, खाद्य सुरक्षा व पोषण के संबंध में महिलाओं की नेतृत्व एवं निर्णय लेने की भूमिकाओं को मान्यता व बढ़ावा देना। ये सम्मेलन इस तरह तैयार किया गया है कि अनुसंधान और अभ्यास के बीच का जो फासला है उसे दूर करने के लिए नवीनतम ज्ञान का आदान प्रदान किया जाए। उद्देश्य यह है कि खाद्य प्रणालियों में लैंगिक समानता को बढ़ावा दिया जाए और उसे सामाजिक रूप से समावेशी व लचीला बनाया जाए। ये कहना है CGIAR जेंडर इम्पैक्ट प्लेटफॉर्म की निदेशक डॉक्टर निकोलाइन डी हॉर्न का। दुनिया भर में कृषि खाद्य प्रणालियों में जेंडर असमानता बहुत अहम चुनौती बनी हुई है और कोविड-19 व जलवायु परिवर्तन जैसे संकटों के चलते वर्तमान असमानताएं बदतर हो रही हैं। कुल मिलाकर पुरुषों की तुलना में महिलाओं को खाद्य सुरक्षा कम है और उन्हें बाहरी सदमों की भी कड़ी मार झेलनी पड़ती है, जैसे बाढ़ व सूखा। हम अनुसंधान, साक्ष्य और व्यवहारिक समझ को एकजुट करके नीति निर्माताओं व निवेशकों का मार्गदर्शन कर रहे हैं ताकि वे सर्वश्रेष्ठ समाधानों की ओर अग्रसर हों, जिसे वे लैंगिक समानता एवं महिला सशक्तिकरण के वैश्विक लक्ष्यों की प्राप्ति के लिए सही रास्ते पर आ जाएं। डॉक्टर डी हॉर्न ने कहा, इस सम्मेलन में CGIAR जेंडर इम्पैक्ट प्लेटफॉर्म और भारतीय कृषि अनुसंधान परिषद लैंगिक अनुसंधान कर्ताओं के लिए एक विशिष्ट वैश्विक नेटवर्क का संयोजन कर रहे हैं तथा उन्हें इन अनुसंधानकर्ताओं, प्रैक्टिशनरों व नीति निर्माताओं के साथ एकजुट कर रहे हैं ताकि आज तक हुए कृषि लैंगिक अनुसंधान का जायजा लिया जाए और नव परिवर्तन का प्रस्ताव दिया जाए जो कृषि खाद्य प्रणालियों को ज्यादा समान, न्याय संगत व लचीला बनाने में मददगार साबित हो। इस सम्मेलन के दौरान 140 मौखिक प्रस्तुतियां, 85 पोस्टर, 25 उच्च स्तरीय परिपूर्ण में मुख्य वक्ता एवं 60 समानांतर सत्र होंगे। अंतर्राष्ट्रीय प्रदर्शक एवं भारतीय महिला उद्यमी अपना कार्य व नई खोज प्रदर्शित करेंगे। सम्मेलन प्रतिनिधि अनुसंधान संस्थानों, राष्ट्रीय कृषि अनुसंधान व विस्तार प्रणालियों, गैर सरकारी संगठनों, सिविल सोसाइटी संगठनों, फंडिंग पार्टनरों, नीति निर्माता निकायों और प्राइवेट सेक्टर की विस्तृत रेंज की नुमाइंदगी करेंगी। भारतीय कृषि अनुसंधान परिषद और उसके साथ CGIAR और अन्य अनुसंधान सहयोग भारत के 12.60 करोड़ 126 मिलियन छोटे किसानों के भविष्य को मार्गदर्शन में आकार देने का काम जारी रखेंगे। CGIAR इम्पैक्ट प्लेटफॉर्म के नाते जेंडर का लक्ष्य है ज्ञान का प्रसार करके उन कृषि संसाधनों का संरचनाकार बनाना जो महिलाओं के लिए काम करते हैं तथा न्याय संगत, लचीले व समृद्ध समाज के निर्माण में योगदान देते हैं। ICAR दुनिया के सबसे बड़े राष्ट्रीय कृषि अनुसंधान एवं विस्तार प्रणालियों में से एक है। इसके साथ साझेदारी CGIAR और उसके सहयोगियों को एक खास मौका देती है जिसे वे सहयोग करेंगे जमीनी स्तर पर मांग के साथ जुड़े और बड़े पैमाने पर प्रभाव कायम कर सकें। ICAR के 113 संस्थान और 76 कृषि विश्वविद्यालय भारत भर में फैले हुए हैं। ये साक्ष्य आधारित प्राथमिकताओं की पहचान करने और नव प्रवर्तन में एक भूमिका निभाएंगे, जिससे कि G20 की प्रतिबद्धताओं को अमली जामा पहनाकर जलवायु परिवर्तन, खाद्य सुरक्षा व पोषण के मामले में महिलाओं को नेतृत्व की भूमिका में स्थापित किया जा सके। इससे महिला व पुरुष दोनों किसानों के लिए और उसके समस्त समुदाय के लिए भी सकारात्मक परिणाम हासिल किए जा सके। CGIAR विश्व स्तरीय विशेषज्ञता और साक्ष्य व साबित संसाधनों को उपलब्ध कराकर इस प्रक्रिया में योगदान दे सकती है।
and many other participants from India side are with us. I welcome you all on behalf of Indian Council of Agriculture Research and CGIAR. I take this opportunity to welcome you in this briefing meeting. And here I would like to just mention that here this meeting has been called, this press briefing meeting has been called with relation to organization of the International Gender Research Conference, from research to impact towards resilient agriculture food systems. And this program will be organized from 9 to 12 October 2023 here in the same premises, National Agriculture Science Complex. So before that little introduction I would like to give that what this CGIAR is. So CGIAR is a platform, Consortia International Agriculture Research Center, which has its headquarters in Washington and also in France. And it is one of the largest global agriculture innovation network where they work for development of the new tools to harness economic, environment and nutritional power. So 15 agriculture CGIAR related institutes are there, and you are already aware about the Indian Council of Agriculture Research. Indian Council of Agriculture Research is also working together with CGIAR institutes to address many international issues which are common in nature. So similarly, we have one more platform which is implemented through CGIAR, that is a gender impact platform. And director of that institute is available with us. So this again is a platform where the efforts are made for putting the equality and inclusion at the heart of food system research. And this gender impact platform hosts events and conferences to bring together scientists and other stakeholders. So this time India has got the opportunity to host the important event, the international conference which I have just mentioned. It's an international gender research conference. So Indian Council of Agriculture Research is hosting this important conference, and today we all are here to know more details that how this program is going to give the message and what kind of agendas are there which we will discuss here. So now without wasting the time, I'll request Dr. Himanshu Pathak sir, Secretary Dear and DG ICAR, to further take over and give his comments before we commence this presentation.
Thank you very much, Dr. Malhotra, Dr. Napoleon, our Deputy Director General, Dr. Agrawal, Dr. Chau, Madam DG Simajagi, and all of you, my dear friends from media. Let me welcome each and everyone for this press briefing, which has been done jointly by ICAR, Indian Council of Agriculture Research, and also one CGIAR. One CGIAR, what is that? Dr. Malhotra talked about it. Now, before I talk about this particular conference, let me also share with you that ICAR and also Government of India has got a very strong and very successful collaboration with CGIAR system. All of you know about CGIAR, particularly its various institutes like International Ice Research Institute, Smt for maize and wheat, and there are several others. Since the beginning, since the establishment of all these centers, say for example, IRI was established in 1960. Since that day onwards till today, CGIAR and ICAR has got very successful collaboration. our green revolutions, whether it is for rice or wheat or maize or many other crops, again the contributions of CGIAR, their technologies, their capacity building activities and so on have been very, very useful. And on this particular day, let me also remember Professor M.S. Swaminathan, whom we had lost just a few days back. He was one of the pioneers of establishing such a fruitful and such a useful collaboration among CGIAR Institute and ICAR Institute. You also know that Professor Swaminathan was the first Director General from India, Director General of Indian Rice Research Institute. And since then, our collaboration has increased from strength to strength. This is another good opportunity when CGIAR and ICAR is going to work together on gender issues. And to take it forward from 9th October to 12th October, we are going to have an international conference, global conference, particularly to address the gender issues. A brief note will be circulated to all of you where the details, objectives and everything are written. The title of the conference is From Research to Impact Towards Just and Resilient Agri-Food Systems. So there are a few keywords in this. One is food system. Now we all talk about cropping systems, rice wheat cropping system or crop system. But now not only global level like CGIAR, but in council also, we are going to work in the whole food system. When we talk of the whole food system, starting from seed, not only ending in harvest, then it's processing, post-harvest management. So from field to fork. From field, starting from seed, and then how it will be processed, going to the market, to consumer. So the whole chain is going to be discussed. And in the whole chain, how gender issues are important. All those things will be discussed in this particular conference. You know, gender issue has been a prominent issue in agriculture for quite a long time. Even today, in our rural areas, most of the jobs in agriculture sector, cropping sector, and particularly in animal husbandry sector, you will know that are done by women. And India is one country where we have got one institute exclusively working on technologies which are friendly to women farmers. So in Bhubaneswar we have got that institute, we call it SIVA, Central Institute of Women in Agriculture. And for last several decades that institute is working to develop equipments which are women friendly, several other agro technologies which are women friendly and so on. And I am really happy and also in a way proud to announce before all of you that this particular conference will be inaugurated by our Honorable President, Smt. Droupadi Murmu. As you all know, she has been a champion of women. She also comes from a farming background. So on this particular occasion, I think there could be nobody in the whole world who could be better than her to inaugurate this global conference. So on behalf of ICAR and also CGIAR and from behalf of all of us, I express my very sincere thanks and gratitude to her for kindly accepting our request and to be the chief guest in the inaugural function to inaugurate this particular conference. Before I proceed, I shall request Dr. Nicolin, who is heading our gender platform there, to say something about this conference, and then we shall take the questions and answers. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Patak. I really appreciate the hospitality you've shown us, and it's been a real fun and good collaboration. So I'm here as part of the CGIAR Gender Impact Platform, where we work across the world with a whole group of gender researchers. And we really look forward, and it's always been a dream of mine, to actually work with ICAR because they have such a reach and are so important to the world. So that's why we're here today, to have a conference, to bring together a whole group of researchers who can help us figure out and solve some of the gender inequalities that we have in the world, so that we as a society actually become better. Because we do know that women are a big part of agriculture. Women do spend a lot of their energy and time to make sure we have food, not only in the kitchen, but actually in the fields. And so, for instance, with livestock, we know women do a lot of labor around livestock, but then the livestock gets sold, and it's often the men that get the money. So how can we make it in such a way that women get access to the right technologies to have good livestock production, for instance, since they're already doing it? So can we make sure that we actually give them access to vaccines for livestock, so that when the animal gets sick, they can actually help that the animal gets better? So those are the type of things we're looking forward to. We have about 150 research papers being presented on issues on gender equality and agriculture. So I think this is where we have cutting edge and exciting work going on, where we hope to actually solve some of these issues. And it's only becoming more and more important. As we all know, climate change and COVID have shown us that gender inequality is going the wrong direction, let's put it that way. And so we need everybody on board to solve these problems, and we also need women on board for that. So that's what we're here to do. Use research to help us solve problems, use research to help inform policy, so that when we talk about gender issues, it's based on evidence, it's based on research that we've done. It's not just my opinion, it's actually something that we can work with and move forward. So we really look forward to engaging everybody with this. And again, thanks for all your help, and also thanks for helping us get the president. We're so honored to have the president inaugurate our conference. And we're all very excited because we started this conference about 10 years ago with about 8 people in the room. And now we've grown, and we really appreciate the collaboration with ICAR to allow us to do this. So once again, thank you. Appreciate it. And we look forward to all the results that will come out of the next 4 days.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your initial remarks. Two more points before I request for your observations and your queries. Number one is, as you know, that Honorable Indian Parliament has very recently passed the Women Reservation Bill. So this is a very positive development in this particular field. This is number one. And number two, if you currently visit our any other universities, you will find that a large number of girl students are studying agriculture. To be precise, the number is around 46%. 46 to 40. 49. Now it is 49%. 50% rather. 50% of our students are now girls. So it's a very, very, very positive development. And not only this,
This is graduation?
graduation. In graduation, their numbers are more. In MSc, little less, but then numbers are increasing. And second, which is more important than this, not only 50%, more important is because I had the opportunity to attend conference as a convocation of some of the universities in the last 2-3 months. Around 90% of the medals, awards, which are given by a particular university, 90% of those medals and honors are going to the girl students. 90%, sometimes even more than that. So this is another very positive development which is. Now the basic idea behind this particular conference is that still there are problems, there are issues. Agriculture itself is a very uncertain kind of business because of vulnerability of climate and so on. This vulnerability is going to increase because of climate change. There are some other uncertainties. Most of these problems can be solved by new science and new technology. Our past experience has shown that how science and technology can help. And in this endeavor, CGIAR has been a very big support for Indian scientists, for Indian agriculture. And that is one of the reasons that both of us have now come together to organize this global conference, where every aspect of women in agriculture, the gender equality, will be discussed in its scientific ways, in its technical fronts, in its policy fronts, and also in its extension fronts, how those technologies can be taken to the farming community, to the women farmers, not only in this country but also elsewhere in the world. So with these comments, once again I welcome each and every one of you, and I'm really very, very happy to see so many of you gathered here. That shows your interest and also a little bit of the sincerity with which we are trying to organize this particular conference. Thank you very much. Now I request you for your observations and comments. Please.
So those 6 themes are just I will broadly tell you the themes. First one is the gender and social inclusion lens on resilience in the context of climate change and other stresses and shocks which are there. That's the first theme. The second theme is on women's empowerment through gender transformative change in agri-food systems. And the third one is on gender responsive and transformative agri-food system innovations. And then we have fostering equitable market systems, and then delivering nutrition, food security and health for all. And the last one is youth and agri-food systems. These are the 6 broad themes, and under all these 6 broad themes we are having different sessions. So total for the 4 days there will be total 60 sessions, parallel sessions, daily 6 parallel sessions. So total 60 sessions will be organized.
Approximately how many delegates are likely to be arrived in coming global conference?
4, but there are still some more who have come and they'll be registering soon. So we expect around 600 delegates.
I just want to know.
The venue is, somebody has heard the venue is Dr. C. Subramaniam Hall, just behind this particular building. And probably you know that hall is also now getting more and more popularity, because the Honorable Prime Minister has used that particular hall on 4 or 5 occasions in last 1 year or so. So, and we have got our several other halls where the breakout sessions will be going. But the main venue will be this Dr. C. Subramaniam Hall, which is just behind this.
Timing of the inaugural session.
Yeah.
Dr. Pathak, I'm Gayatri Varsai, freelancer.
Sure.
I want to ask you that you mentioned that the keywords were I think food system.
Right.
But for me the keywords are just and resilient. What is unjust so far?
What is unjust so far?
What do you mean by just?
Yes. Just means
Resilient
what?
I know is related to climate change,
That's
but
right.
just.
Just means it must be equitable. It must be scientifically correct. So from social point of view, it must be just. From scientific point of view, it must be just. From policy point of view also, it should be just. When I say scientific point of view, for climate resilient agriculture, for whole food system, there are some scientific ways by which if we do it, then the efficiency is going to increase. If we do not do it scientifically, then the efficiency is going to be less. So we want to do the things scientifically, just scientifically. And also equity
When
and
women
policy.
don't have access to land and credit, how just is the system?
Yes, this is of course much bigger issues. In this particular conference, of course, we will be deliberating upon those aspects also, policy as well as social aspects. And of course, in any conference or any scientific body can come out with some of our recommendations. But then it goes up to the policy planners and people to take note of that and then come out with suitable policy so that this unjust become just. And that's what one of our objectives in this particular case. Yeah, I think we can take.
Dr. Panduk, namaskar.
Namaskar. Sure.
So, one of the areas that we're doing a lot of research now on is on financial inclusion. We should talk about credit. And so how do you actually get financial inclusion? Because a lot of financial inclusion is based on, having assets that you can actually get. So we're figuring out, are there mechanisms and systems in place that do not require a lot of land or so that allow it? So you have situations like where we can have a third person come in to actually provide that credit. So we're looking for solutions in that space. Again, like financial credit, financial inclusion is very important to us because we know we can get seeds to women, but can they then get fertilizer? So we're working on things like that, trying to find solutions, like you're saying. I mean,
ये जो प्रोग्राम आप कर रहे हो जी, तो इसके बाद किसको कितना फायदा होगा, मतलब in terms of the Indian farmers or in terms of the Indian scientists or in terms of the global scientists?
Right. See, our objective is to bring here the best brains from all over the world. Scientific brains, policy planners, and also the people who are working with the society. So number one is we want to get all the information and share our experiences, which is going to benefit not only Indian scientists or Indian farmers, but also globally. Because every country has got some success stories to share. Every country has got some success story, some good achievement to be shared and to be replicated in other countries. So this particular conference is going to give us those opportunities. And then of course at the end of the day, combining all of these things, we are going to come out with some kind of recommendations, which will be, of course, some will be specific to a particular country, but most of the recommendations also will be applicable throughout the world. So these are few of the expectations which we have got here. Madam, just come, madam. Sure.
Vaccine for a goat. A goat is an important asset to a lot of women. So if we can keep that alive through the technologies, then we can make them more resilient and more making sure that they can actually deal with climate change. So those are the type of things that we're trying to figure out. COVID as well. You know that with COVID, a lot of women who are already in informal systems got kicked out even more, so didn't get an income. So things like that. We're also, one of our big roles as well, is to be honest, is to make the invisible visible. Because in a lot of cases we don't even understand some of this, because we don't really do a lot of research on the position of women in society. And so that's what we're trying to do, is to try to understand some of those dynamics and how can we do them better.
So my second question, where does India stand as far as gender equality in agriculture is concerned in comparison to other countries?
I've had this question asked before, and I personally can't say because I don't do that type of comparative, but I don't know if some of my colleagues...
Probably in our conference, one of the papers will be presented on this particular aspect. So we shall come back to you on the concluding day of this conference. Yes, you wanted to say something?
Dr. Pathak, Shubhendu Ghosh from DD News and DD News. You mentioned about the number of delegates. How many countries and contexts are represented in this conference? And Dr. Han, there's a question for you. We understand that CGIAR gender conferences is an annual tradition. You can share some insight into what has been some of the tangible outcomes of really taking the research and talking about the impact on the ground. If you can share that. Thank you.
Can you tell the number?
I was going to find out the countries, apologies, but at least 60 countries, I'm sure. I myself from the Netherlands, but I live in Kenya. So, and we have somebody from Denmark here, so, at least 60 countries, probably even more. So, yeah, we do. And then your question about tangible outcomes, I think that's, for me, to be very honest, is a tangible outcome is having you here even. A lot of the work in gender in agriculture hasn't been done. We're the first that are actually holding such a global conference at this level. Like I said, the previous ones that we've had have been relatively small because the community is relatively small, because there are not many people out there doing this research. So that's why we're so happy with ICAR, because they really help us, broaden and have you here as well. That's a tangible outcome. But having said that, I think the bigger tangible outcome for me is, again, going back to my vaccines, is can we get those vaccines in the hands of women? And that's where you play a role too. The policy plays a role, research plays a role. Do we make, thermostable vaccines that can actually go into rural areas where women are? All those things, I think, are more tangible. Now, part of the issue is that the CG is so big. We have 12 centers across the world looking at all sorts of different crops and systems. And so everywhere, everybody's had an impact. And so that's what we're trying to also gather is on gender, those impacts have been a little bit here, a little bit there. So how can we bring them together to have a bigger voice and make a bigger story out of what women actually do in our culture? So that's, I hope that answers your question.
Are state governments also coming in India?
Sorry?
Are the states also coming?
Say it again.
Are the states also coming? State governments?
Oh, yes. Many of the states are going to take part in this.
Sir, good afternoon.